And now we're live on Facebook too.
Okay, that's awesome.
And here we are.
So hello, everybody. For those of you just joining us, my name is Lynn Wemyss. I'm coming to you live from A Different Kind of Better. What is A Different Kind of Better? A Different Kind of Better is a platform for wellness practitioners that practice many different modalities, an opportunity to help teach the world how to have a better quality of life using different modalities, not your usual modalities that most people would choose. But it is changing, and we're hoping that these educational webinars will help people be able to make sound decisions and choices on what is the best thing for them. So today I would love to take this opportunity to introduce you to a friend of mine that I have known for quite a few years. We live distant. However, we've always kind of ended up being in touch in some way, shape, or form. Christine Noble is a practitioner that wears many hats and is very well trained in all those areas. But today we are going to be focusing on hypnosis. And this is a topic that I need to learn a lot on, and I'm looking forward to learning from who I feel is one of the best people to explain this to you in our area and hopefully in many areas. So I will let you know that Christine is basically an energy practitioner, hypnotherapist. Did I use the right terminology for that? Or a hypnosis technician. She is also an author. I actually have purchased one of her books in the past, and she is known as the Queen of Relaxation. And that is something that we all need right now, going through what we're going through, starting off this year in lockdown. Can you believe it? But we still have smiles on our faces because life isn't over. Life is just different. And so we need to learn how to adapt and be positive and know that we're on the, hopefully starting the upswing, right? By doing this. She has sessions that are called Sacred Bliss sessions, and I have lots of questions for her, and hopefully she will be able to inform you on all the best areas of hypnosis today. But first of all, those of you who know me and watch this every Tuesday know that I have to do a disclaimer to protect us. So we'll get the formalities over with. So here we go. So this presentation or webinar may contain general information about various medical conditions and their treatment. It does not provide medical advice. The information provided through this presentation is for informational purposes only. The purpose of this message is to promote an understanding and knowledge of various health topics. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Before beginning any type of natural, integrative, or conventional treatment regimen, it is always best that you seek the advice of a licensed healthcare practitioner. So first of all, Christine, thank you so much for being willing to come in today and help us all learn about this. Hopefully allay some of the fears that we've heard out there about hypnosis, and talk about all the positive things and the benefits that can be derived from this practice. So if it's okay with you, is it okay if we get started?
I'm ready. Yes. Happy to be here.
Oh, great. Thank you. So let's start with, what does it take to become somebody that's certified in hypnosis?
Well, you'll look for a course online, hopefully a course that's registered with the National Hypnotist Guild. And you'll take a beginner's course, sort of like, and you can practice after taking this course. There's, I think, in-class hours, maybe I think there's 100 in-class hours, and then there's, of course, assignments and things to do. And you're kind of limited, but that's a good start. So if you want to just stay in that genre of, practice, that's fine. But then after that, there's so many opportunities to take other courses. You can take I took my master's as well as after the basic, and then I specialized in pain management. Myself, I went to California and I took hypnobirthing with Marie Mongan, And then I went down to Florida and took it again because it's such a deep course. I thought I needed it twice. And yeah, and just you can just keep going and taking more and more courses. There's almost no end. And if you want to just specialize in one area, like sports or corporate, I mean, or stage, there's those areas that you would just focus on. But for me, I've sort of ended up when it all came down to it, in the end of that funnel, I'm all about stress management and relaxation. That's sort of my area of expertise now. But before, I used to do a lot of different things.
So when you say stress management and relaxation, everybody understands relaxation. So we know that's, all part of self-care, right? We need to make sure that we get that time where we're what I call my downtime. We all have our names for it. But the stress component of it, we're all being stressed right now with the virus, but there's also a lot of other things that are stressing people, especially in January, right after Christmas, financial stresses. There's a lot of people out of work right now because of what's going on in the world. And so that has created a lot more financial stress for them and other stresses because of that, right? So would hypnosis be good for people that are definitely showing signs of the stress affecting their health?
Yes, I mean, and there's many modalities that will help with this, but hypnosis is just one, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
We all know that, exercise is also a great one, meditation. Sometimes hypnosis may lead you to find those and bring those into your life as well. Mm-hmm. So in hypnosis, for when we do the intake, we find out what your goal is and what obstacles are preventing you from achieving your goal and how you'll feel when you achieve your goal. So we uncover exactly, we'll zone in on exactly what we want to accomplish. And then the client will choose a plan. I don't create a plan. I'm not a therapist. The client chooses the plan, and we will use that in hypnosis. So if you say you're going to, do the deep breathing that we've given you, or the first step in self-hypnosis, you'll do that. But I'll give you, in hypnosis, we'll give you an anchor so that as soon as you sit in that chair and maybe you have a scent, or maybe you have a certain light that you turn on, that instantly you'll feel more grounded and relaxed, and allowing your bottom to sink deeper into the chair and your feet, and feel very present, and then start your deep breathing and the exercises that we've decided on beforehand, but we'll anchor that in a hypnosis session. So it clicks a lot faster and more deeply, so that you're more readily going to go on to the next steps.
Yeah, and I think we also need to understand that there's a few of us, and I'm one of them, that find it very hard to relax. You can tell yourself that you need to do this, but when it comes right down to it, to actually be able to sit and calm down and not have this brain going 100 miles an hour, right? I think for people like me, and I'm sure there's lots more like me, I actually know a few because you attract what you're like, right? Uh-huh. Then I think we have to accept that sometimes we need help. Yes. And it's, you're not lacking in something because you haven't learned that skill yet. It's just something you haven't learned yet. It's like people say, I can't speak Italian. Well, no, you haven't learned yet. Because of course you could, and so we always say practice makes progress. So there's some people that can go into hypnosis very quickly and very easily. And then there's other people like myself who have to practice letting go, practice the breathing, and practice makes progress. The more I practice, the more easily it happened. Mm-hmm. Now you said something there, you triggered me to ask a question. You said self-hypnosis. Yes. So, as far back as I can remember, I've always thought of hypnosis as having somebody with a watch that's going, go to sleep,
I teach self-hypnosis, and
Awesome.
there's 3 steps to doing that. Um, and so you can get to that space quickly and even write your own scripts. Like, I honestly teach people not to need me. So
That
it's,
is,
yes, so that you don't really need me to become this relaxed and this calm or this focused or this enthusiastic. I hopefully when they leave me that they have the skills to create that on their own as well.
so are you saying they probably would only need one session or?
Some people need one session, but the the whole practice makes progress thing, you know,
Right.
like coming, 3 to 5 times generally, but even 3 times. But and then each step of self hypnosis is offered. So you practice that one step for a week, and you practice the next step for a week, and then we deepen that again. You know, so now if you are not going to, if people aren't diligent in practicing that, that's their choice, right? I can't, again, as a hypnotist, I don't have the power to make people practice.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter what modality we're in. We
Yeah,
all run into that.
I know.
We can all give advice. You can teach people, but they have to actually get into action, right, in
So
order
true.
to
Yeah.
really benefit from it. So we all have that issue. And I'm not putting people down that don't do it, because we all do it at some points in our life, right? We say we're
Me
going to
too.
do these things. I bought, and a perfect example of that is I bought a course in December for for fascia, how to exercise fascia. And I've had it for 3 weeks now and have not even opened up the first lesson. So yes, it's a matter of actually learning how to structure your time, and be disciplined as well. So what makes a good session?
Okay. I have figured this out not through any of my courses, just through my own observation. And so, first of all, is being comfortable with the atmosphere. I can tell you one time I went for hypnosis and they had ceramic floors. This is before I was trained. And it was a lovely place, but my feet were freezing from these ceramic floors and I just couldn't relax.
Oh,
So
okay.
I make sure the temperature is nice, that it doesn't have a really strong scent. I have a bottle of water for someone. The chair is comfortable. I have a blanket if they need it, so that they're very comfortable. And also they're comfortable. I make them comfortable with an awareness of what could happen. You may hear the neighbor's dog barking, or you may hear a car door, or you may hear the furnace come on. So this is like a pre-hypnosis talk, that these are the things that you may experience, and it can be a part of your comfort and relaxation, and there's nothing to worry about. So when I kind of explain that, you may hear these things, or you may even hear your own phone buzzing in case they forgot to turn it off, in which case there's nothing to worry about. And so that they're comfortable physically and they're warm. And and then the last thing is that they're comfortable with the process. They're comfortable with my qualifications and what we talked about, but they're also comfortable with what it is and what it isn't. So people obviously aren't going to pay me and come into my door thinking it's not going to work, because that's not how people don't come to just waste money, right? So,
Right.
but then they're actually, to really reassure them. And sometimes I play a video, or sometimes I explain it myself about what it is and what it isn't. And that there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing magic about this, you know? Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I think that's important, for people to come and be able to know that I had a reflexology session done by somebody, and I've had them done by somebody else. What I loved about this person is they offered, do you want to sit or do you want to lay? Do you want a heated blanket or do you not? We even have I was given tons of options, and heat for me is very relaxing. So I chose the heated blanket, and on the bed, and it was the best experience I've ever had. And so I think, listening to you, it sounds like you're a practitioner that is set to make them as comfortable as possible, so that they can get the best results when they have a session with you. Am I
Yes.
correct?
it's not just it's more than making people feel welcome. It's just they have to be comfortable. And like there's group hypnosis, and it does work for some people, but it's going into a room with a whole bunch of people that you don't know. Even if
Right.
you're comfortable with the process, there's a whole, and I have went to group hypnosis myself and had a wonderful benefit from it. But I was very comfortable there, and I know some people weren't. So it makes me more aware of making people just feel comfortable with the location. And yeah.
So I talked to you earlier about things that people have misunderstandings about with hypnosis. You and I talked a little bit about this before we got started. And I was wondering if you can sort of cover that a little bit and tell people, sort of allay any fears they may have about this whole process.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest fears is people think they're going to lose control and that I am somehow going to be in control. And um, everyone's always in control of their own thoughts. I can't make somebody think something. So, for example, if I tell you to close your eyes and just take a deep breath
Mm-hmm.
and imagine that you can see a red ball in your mind's eye. Now,
Right.
imagine that red ball turns green. Now, I can't, if you decide to think of getting new tires on your car, I can't control that, right?
Right.
So you can choose to listen and participate, or you can choose not to. You can not think about that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there's no way to force someone to follow the direction. And I always give people the option to allow yourself to go as deeply relaxed, as comfortable as for you in this moment. That's right for you in this moment. So each time may be a different experience, but like what are you going to allow? Because you are totally in control.
Yeah. And I guess a lot of people are afraid of what they might be told to do while they're under hypnosis, right? They have this belief system that you will be under their control and that maybe they might make you do something that you wouldn't normally do, right?
Yeah, and first of all, like even letting people like know me a little bit more
Mhm.
and trusting me.
Yes.
My clients usually come to me through referral, and they know somebody who knows me. So
Yeah.
either a client or somebody else. So there's that trust, because I mean, first of all, I know that that's not possible, but not everyone knows that. You know,
Hmm.
that when you come in, you know, we create a plan together. I just help with the questions, you fill it out, and we're doing what you want to do. Right. So if you're coming to me to build more confidence, that's what the whole plan is building confidence. Yeah.
Absolutely. Trust is really important, right?
Mhm.
Especially doing what you're doing. There has to be an element. I mean, I would have no problem coming and seeing you for this only because of the trust factor that would be there for me. With you. So you're right. You have to have a comfortability knowing what you're going into and that you feel safe.
Yeah. And that goes back to what makes a great session. Yeah.
Exactly.
I
That's
I
part of
have
it.
to say though, the people that come through my door are absolutely amazing. Like I have the most amazing clients ever. I just, yeah.
Yeah. So fortunate.
Mhm.
So we've talked a lot about, how you do it, how to make a person comfortable. We've talked about the fear, um, but we haven't really talked about who would benefit from this type of service. So I think we should probably move into there. Have you noticed any sort of pattern in the types of people that are coming to you for help? Um,
Yeah. It comes and goes. But at one time, early in my practice, I opened my practice in 2006. I noticed there was a trend of people coming with stress. And when we got right down to it, it was the inability to say no.
hmm,
And I'm like, oh, like here it is again, and here it is again. But it presents itself in different ways. People are stressed and they're overwhelmed with things that they've agreed to do, and they don't know how to say no to the commitments that they've made or make changes because they feel they'll be judged or not liked. And when really saying no to other people actually is saying yes to them. right? To their well-being.
Absolutely.
For a while, I noticed a trend with, people just, and we would just practice that in hypnosis. So, you know how once you've done something once, you've already done it. So, like, for example, the one lady, she was always shoveling her neighbor's laneway, but she had to get the kids off in the morning. And she worked and she has 3 kids and she shovels her own laneway. And, you know, this was one extra thing, but she felt because she's done it a few times that she had to do it. And she needed to go over there and just say, I won't be able to do this anymore. But there was just, and I mean, there was a whole list of things, but this was one small thing. But in hypnosis, we just imagined, that she was opening the door, going outside, walking over to the neighbor's house, knocking on the door and seeing her, and how that conversation and what she would say. And then we did it again. And so when she actually did it, in her mind, her body felt like it was the 3rd time she's done it.
That
So
makes sense.
easily and effortlessly that it happened. And of course, there was many other things after that as well, but that's what some of the things that she wanted to do. And initially she came for self-confidence, but you can see, yes, this also helped with her self-confidence. So when you said who comes to see me, because I specialize mostly in stress management now, but in the early days, I used to do hypnobirthing, which I loved. And I still sometimes work with expecting moms, but that was so rewarding. Oh, it just like fills my heart. So that program was really about empowering women that they're qualified, that their bodies are qualified to give birth.
Right.
And we are not against medically managed births. I
Right.
mean, not at all. But what if you're just unplugged from anything you've ever been told? Because we're hypnotized all the time by TV, by repetitive words and stories that go into us over and over again, and it creates a belief.
Right.
So really, when women start their laboring process, their birthing process, sometimes they're triggered into believing that they could die, because of all of those stories and how horrible it was. And so we know that when those stress hormones kick in, it puts the blood and the oxygen to our extremities so that we can fight or flight, right? So that deprives the uterus of oxygen and blood, which causes failure to progress. But what if you're just letting your body, going within your birthing body and working with it when you're totally relaxed? And this is backed in science. Your body will produce so much oxytocin that it's 200 times more powerful than morphine, the birthing body. Wow. And then, I mean, obviously something's happening. I'm not saying you're going to have a pain-free birth, but just using self-hypnosis and relaxing and using certain techniques, I have seen like amazing things. And I'm not there for the birth. I just teach the skills.
That's amazing.
And yeah, like that has been so rewarding.
And to see the success too, right? To get the feedback from them.
Yes. And of course, pre-COVID, I would, I'd get baby visits. What's better than that?
Well, that's true. Everybody loves babies, right?
Yes.
So
but even helping people recover from strokes, right? They're in physio, but I had a gentleman come from a stroke, and just to stay with it, and that being able to envision him playing golf again, and he said, I might not be able to play the banjo anymore, but at least I can want to be able to hold a golf club. And, so that kept him motivated. The hypnosis kept him motivated to continue with his physio and with that desire that things will get better. So I'm not saying that just the hypnosis fixed everything, but it was part of a bigger plan. And, because he just didn't want to leave the house and he was kind of grumpy. And so it was suggested that he come and see me, and we just had a wonderful time. And I was able to, he sent a picture to me of him on the golf course.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So get some really amazing stories, and I get to be a little piece of the key that helps somebody get where they want to be.
And this is what we're talking about, having a better quality of life, even through a tragic situation. Your life isn't over. You just have to, look at different ways to live it.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, who went through a tragic illness last year, and a lot of people die from what she had, and for the first couple of months, her life was over in her mind.
Right.
It took us a couple of months, but eventually, I sat her down and said, your life is not over, it's just changed. And it's up to you whether you can improve it in a certain way or whether you can't. And it's choice, right? It's really, really choice. When you look at these speakers that go out there, I forget his name, and it's in the back of my mind, but he has no limbs, and he's one of the world's top motivational speakers. I mean, he could have chosen to live a pretty miserable existence, but instead he chose to say, well, what can I do with what I have? And he's had an incredible life. And that's what we need to do. And I think people like you, if you can get the people through the door and they can tell you what their needs are, you can help them change, right? So that's really exciting.
And at least a different perspective.
Yeah. So here you are now, right? And you've helped a lot of people, and I'm sure you're going to help a lot more. And I know you're like me, you're an entrepreneur. So you're always thinking about new directions and new ways to do things and new ways to help people. That's our main focus, right? It's not always just with people like us that do what we do. It's not really, we're not driven by ourselves. We're driven by other people and how we can help them get what they need. So are there any tips for our viewers now and for the viewers that are going to be watching this in the future on how they can help make a shift?
Yes, that is a really great question, especially now. So one of the things, I mentioned earlier that we're in different forms of hypnosis all the time. And we actually even, through the power of our words, I didn't know then what I know now, but I even think about, telling the kids, don't spill your juice. Don't spill your juice. Don't spill your juice. All that goes in is spill your juice, spill your juice. Mm-hmm. Well, if I would have said, 2 hands on the cup, 2 hands on the cup, same message, but in a more positive way, right?
Yes.
And even for ourselves, just what words that we use for ourselves, and also to reframe things. Like, I've heard of, for instance, somebody had a situation with a coworker, and it's like, what has she taught you though? Mm-hmm. She taught you to be more compassionate. She's taught you what it feels like to be, talked to in a demeaning manner. So like, you've learned a lot from her, and we can thank her for that. But just like changing your perspective of like, well, what did I learn from this? And also the words that we use for other people, but the words we use on ourselves, like even if it's just a goal, like for instance, I will not eat potato chips. Well, all your mind thinks about is the potato chips, right? So it's like, I make healthy choices. I make healthy choices, mm-hmm. and not explaining yourself to other people. Whenever we make changes in our lives, it just causes a ripple effect and a little bit of chaos, even for a little while. I even know when I gave up alcohol, just because I didn't realize it was the red wine that was making my face go red. I thought it was all alcohol, so I stopped drinking it. And everyone kept like asking me questions and trying to give me alcohol. And it's like, I really had to learn to say, oh, that doesn't work for me. Or no, thank you, that doesn't work for me. And they would say like, why? Well, it just doesn't work for me. And, just being consistent, but kind, because that's not what I wanted to say, but just choosing your words really carefully, and just even taking a moment between somebody saying something and just taking that moment to choose your behavior. And if you take the emotion out of it and just respond in a way that is soothing for your own heart and your own soul, mm-hmm. is a kindness, and it just smooths out everyone. And there's so many examples. I remember one time years ago, And I had just started learning all of these things. And my grandmother said to me, "Oh, Christine, you're putting on weight again." And I'm like, "Oh." I said, "Did you say that because you think I didn't notice? Or did you say that to hurt me? Because I love you. Why would you want to hurt me?" And she's like, "Oh, no, no, no." And it never happened again. But I told her I loved her. I'm getting a little teary now. But these are some of the skills that when you learn them and you practice them over and over again, just changing your words, changing your reaction. It's like some people say, "Oh, I love this. Well, this is the way I am. I can't change. I can't." Of course you can't change because you're saying you can't change. You're affirming that, you know? But what if you could? What if you could just tweak some of the words that you use and that you say to yourself over and over again?
You know, it's so funny that you brought that up. And I'm openly honest in these webcasts.
Mhm.
We need to be very careful what we say to people. And you gave an example there that brought tears to your eyes. And there's been one in my life that has always affected me. And that was that when I met my husband, we were much younger. And my husband was known as a fairly good looking, handsome man. And I had people constantly coming up to me and saying, "Wow, you're so lucky. How did you get him?" And I took that for years. I just accepted it. And it was like, what are they saying? Are they saying I'm not pretty, or I don't deserve somebody as good looking as him? And
Yeah.
it does affect your whole ability to, it affects your self-esteem.
It really does. And yeah, and just that we could be a little nicer and
Absolutely.
kinder by the words that we choose to others, but also to ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So, just, like I'm making some changes in my life and people, want to pull me back into my old habits. And it's like, "Oh, no, that doesn't work for me anymore." And, "Oh, I'm doing this." And it's like, "Why?" "Well, it seems to be working for me. So I'm going to stay with it, but
Yes.
without giving the whole explanation. This seems to be working for me. And I also say, it's not for everyone and it may not be for you, but it's working for me.
Works
That's
for
it.
you. And
Yeah.
I started saying, what do you mean by that? Are you saying I'm not pretty? And that started the stop, right? I think and I wasn't mean. It's just that I just didn't understand why they were saying it. So it's true. We really need to watch what we say. And I see this with men too. I've seen men saying to other men, "Wow, you're really going bald."
Yes.
And I've always stood there and thought, "Oh, why do they do that to each other? Like, why would anybody openly tell somebody, 'Wow, you're really going bald,' or 'You're really going gray,' or, your example or my example?" We need to be more uplifting. It's, do you think as you said, do you think they don't know that they're losing their hair? Of course they do. They don't
Yeah.
need to be told they're losing their hair, right?
No,
We all,
no. Or
so
reminded that they're getting older or anything else.
absolutely. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
So that would be my parting. And to anyone who's watching this with small children, to start just using words like instead of "don't jump on the bed," because I used to do that, to say "head on the pillow, head on the pillow, feet on the bed. Good night. Keep your head on the pillow." Just those little reminders that,
Yeah.
and I have to say, I just have to share this one last thing about one of the best ways to use hypnosis things to focus on the kids is pretend to make a phone call and tell whoever, like Auntie Bunny, what behaviors they're doing. That is so wonderful. Do you know that little Cindy is sleeping like totally through the night now? She's getting better and better every day. I'm so proud of her. And
That's
that's like an amazing little thing that really works.
good.
So
Well,
I know our time's running right there.
I could talk to you for a long time. This has been so super. Thank you so much, Christine. I hope everybody shares this with as many people as possible so that we can help people get some help and learn about the fact that hypnosis is good. right? It is not a bad thing at all.
It
You are
is.
in control at all times, and that it can be very beneficial. We'd like to thank all our viewers for taking time out today to come in and be part of this webinar. And we'll see you again next Tuesday live at 5 on a different kind of better, on the different kind of better Facebook page. Take care and thanks. Have a great day and Happy New Year, everybody. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.